A very good evening and welcome to Super League HQ for game week 4 of the current season. As always, I'm here and tonight I am joined by another former champion in a previous iteration, current Roos manager Steve Wright. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, mate. How are we?
I am very well, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. If you take away results-wise, I think we've had a reasonable start to the season. But again, points on board is what matter, in it, not performances.
Well, it's still early days and still plenty of time for people to turn it around if they don't think they've started particularly well. Let's have a quick look at the table then. Got 3 teams on the maximum points. If I'd said to you it would be Burn, Coast and Gazelles on 9 out of 9 at the start of the season, would you have thought that would be the situation?
I'd say Coast, yeah. Obviously, everybody knows what Dimble did with that Churchtown team that he turned round. Burn, every test save, which I run through 1,000,001 times. Obviously, the background would be completely different to what Ian plays, but they were always up there nearly every time. So not an overly surprise, but obviously it's all different when it's all kicking off proper than putting your own thing. But surprise package this year, definitely Gazelles without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, they've been brilliant.
And down the bottom, we've got 2 teams still pointless in Celtics and Badgers.
I mean, Badgers, I've spoken a lot with Tato over this last week or so. He's got some positions in his team that you struggle to pick players that are not should be playing further forward in further back positions. I think his centre midfield is lacking massively, but I think there's a decent squad in there at some point. But the big one for me is definitely Greavesy, because his side is littered with quality.
No, absolutely. And this is obviously your first time in the new layout, in the new home of the Super League. You were just giving me some of your thoughts on the new layout and stuff, and you like most seem quite happy with how the save's been built by Dimble, some of the graphics by Duggan and a few others, and basically how the whole package has come together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The video seemed a little bit clearer going through this than they were through Zoom. This like Sky Sports News-esque thing across the bottom is brilliant, just with just adding a little bit of background to what's going to go on during the evening. And obviously the main thing that's to come is what we're all here for as well, which is as superb as it's always been.
Excellent. Well, Ghost Games permitting, obviously, your game away at Badgers will be last on. Any of the games that we have tonight stand out for you? There's one obvious one for me.
I think there's a few here. Astor East Coast, Astor have gone about the business pretty well so far. As a Vikings Fulchester, that's an interesting one, considering obviously the noise that were made from the Vikings camp. It's nice to know that Dan's back involved in some sort of form as well. But obviously Bostock Burn needs to be saved till a little bit later on, in my opinion. So yeah, I think don't know, maybe start with Robin Odgie.
If that's where you'd like to start, sir, that is where we will start. So we are heading towards Triple P against the Casuals to start. Not quite. There we go. Let's have a look at the home side first. They make one alteration from the tactic and team last time out. Roque Jr., who was part of a back 3, has been replaced by Wellens into centre midfield. What have you made of the start that Triple P have made? Obviously, it's not been fruitful for them, but they certainly got a capable squad, haven't they?
Yeah, they definitely have. It's just a case for Rob finding his feet and finding what's going to work for him. They obviously opening day we drew 2 apiece with them, which I felt we deserved far more considering the stats. But it shows that they were capable of holding teams out as well. Some of them, obviously, last iteration, regardless of what demise happened with Loco, Petit were solid and brilliant throughout. Makalele, I'm not too much of a fan of. I just think there's a couple of players there that are lacking a little bit. Danielson, it did okay for us when we had him on loan from Agis in last save. Richie Wellens, I mean, there's a few players I'm interested to see in the league from start. Richie Wellens won. I know I brought Mendonca in from the start, a bit different getting him in with all the training and reputations, etc. from start. George Costa can be solid. We had him last season as well. We got him in the free-for-all with the reserves. But I just feel he's got probably a couple of other players. I'm glad to see Mpenza up top on his own. I know he's got Zidane behind him there, but Mpenza on top, and as we know, Roy Mackay became a big massive favourite of mine over at last save as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at the away side then, who, as you will see along the ticker on the bottom, overwhelming favourites in Swan's prediction for this one. They make 2 changes from the last side. Former Leeds man Stephen McPhail comes into centre midfield. Also got Cepeda going in behind to support Comandini in the attacking midfield role.
Yeah, did Lopez not score from there? Were it not last game or game of 4 from AMC?
He did indeed.
Yeah, it's obviously a little bit of a surprise and change up. I know he's a big fan of Cepeda. He's not somebody I've had or played with at all, so I can't give any sort of voice and opinion on him. Stephen McPhail, I'm absolutely delighted to see getting a run out. He can be very, very good. And obviously, you look at his creativity and his passing, he should be able to do a bit of something. So, yeah, but a lot of people claim that Odgie had this great squad from the draft. He had a few good players in it because he had some big names, Giggs, Contra, Vieira. I think they were not, apart from his centre halves as well. I still think he's doing really, really well with what he's putting out week on week at the minute. Well,
let's head towards Match Centre then and ask you for the first time tonight for your predictions, please.
Let me just get my phone number. I'm going to send you. I'm just going to put the predictions in that I sent to Mr. Swanman because I think going against them would be not great if I can find it. Right. So with this one, I went 1-0 casuals, mate.
1-0 casuals. Alf straight in the comments saying 1-1. Rob saying 4-0. Just a reminder, and again, good evening to everyone who is joining us. If you are, we are live currently via YouTube and on Twitter. Just a reminder, if this is the first time watching, if you are watching live on Twitter, we won't see your comments appear in the live feed and won't be able to flash them up on the screen. For some reason, StreamYard doesn't like that. So if you would like to get involved in the conversation, please head over to YouTube to join in. Let's kick this one off then and see if we're in for as entertaining an evening as we had the last couple of game weeks. Nothing happened in the first 10 minutes. Triple P had the first attempt. We're already at the half-an-hour mark. Not a great deal of action, but it does look like Triple P have created the better of the chances thus far. I think I recall Hodgie putting in the chat earlier that, excuse me, he's working nights tonight, so not to hang about for him in terms of substitutions. We have very quickly reached half-time. I can see Jamie. Evening, Jamie. He's put 2-2 as a prediction. Jens also putting 1-1. It's not been the kamikaze start we've had to a couple of other episodes. A bit of a chess match, Steve.
Yeah, from the text, it seemed far more PPP in fairness, which obviously, like I said, Rob's got a knack of, regardless of whatever team he's in charge of, probably bar the Devils in fairness when he's had a bit of a probably lesser squad where he's been able to get attacking performances out of teams. So yeah, obviously it's fairly even so far. I think they will just be a little bit concerned with the amount of tackles they've won, but letting Malevsky go over Zidane, does that contribute to that? Maybe it does, in my opinion.
Let's have a look at the stats. Wellens was the man brought in. He's had a fairly effective first half. He's seeing plenty of the ball, and has good distribution. Looking for more from Mackay and Penza. Looking at that, that is for sure. The skipper Costa is putting in a shift in that first half, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously some tackles missed there, but I think it's just his headers, and he's probably his pass completion that's up there for getting him that 8 at the minute. It's you just worry with them arrows on them DMCs. Obviously, I've done that with all 4 across the last save. You just wonder sometimes can teams get in behind a bit, and obviously I've just got some capable players that can, but he's going about his business all right at the minute, and they're 2 big changes, and obviously I letting have Trezeguet for Ebisand for obvious reasons as well. And let's see if he can finally start doing a bit, which I think he failed for full Chester last time out.
What do you make of the changes? I mean, like you say, it's two big players coming off, but it's two equally talented players coming on.
He struggled getting things out of Impenza when Impenza were very good in last save as well. So I don't blame him at all for trying to go somebody else that he might trust a little bit more, in fairness.
Buffon putting in a good performance for casuals, and it's a fairly solid all-round team half, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think obviously Bar Clompe, he's won all his tackles, he's not had any headers to. That's probably because of his lack of involvement, really, is the 6. But barring that, they're all doing very well. I think obviously it seems like PPP have got a bit more to give than Walton possibly have at the minute.
Well, let's go to 60 then, and see if the second half has a bit more in terms of entertainment. Again, it looks very PPP dominated. The home side trying to implant their game, and then best part of 15-20 minutes goes by with nothing happening, and we pause the game on 67 minutes. It still does look mostly Triple P, Steve. Do you think this is where Rob tries to, where possible, go more attacking, or do you think he trusts in the system and lets them go because it looks like they could go on to win this?
I think saying system is a little bit difficult because it's the first time I've seen him use the system. So I know he went 3 at back last game and he's changed it up again to this. I don't think he's found a system he can fully trust himself. He went back to his former Sloss formation at the start of the season against us with his 3 up top. It's about finding players in right positions, and it's not quite clicking from yet, but I think when it does, it'll click very well.
Well, he's gone as is, and as we know, Hodgie isn't here at the moment to pick his side. Clompe's rating has gone up to a 7 in the meantime. Let's resume the action, see if we get a winner in this first game of the night. There's a yellow card. We'll just slow this one down now with a little over 15 minutes still to play. Danielson with a free kick off the wall. Hoffland picks it up, and Contra gets in the way. Hoffland again picking it up. Petit and Makaleli playing amongst themselves. Hoffland handball, free kick to the away side now. Giggs picks it up. Still no meaningful attacks as we go into the last 10 minutes. All the drama on Sunday, Steve, and you've dished up this as your opening game. People won't be wanting you back on comms if this is what we got for the whole night, that's for sure. Cepeda picks it up. Nigmatulin gets in the way just as Duggan types casual sucker punch incoming. And Nigmatulin again blocking it. 91st minute now. And there's the final whistle, and game 1 of the night, Steve, ending 0-0. Fairly even game looking at the ratings. The tackles percentage, I think you mentioned it at half-time. Triple P might look at that and be a little bit concerned, but absolutely dominated in the air. Casuals, probably just about worthy of the point.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think tackles won don't overly contribute too much because a lot of the time during our title winning season and last season when we sort of were steadying away going into playoffs, our tackles won percentage were very, very low most of the time. But the thing is, I know everybody talks about Greavesy being a really catenaccio defensive mastermind this time or another. I think Hodges proving yet again, without a shadow of a doubt, that his defensive acumen is superb.
Let's have a look at the home side individually then and see what was good. You mentioned Makaleli. You're not a massive fan, but did a decent game. Although again, he was guilty of missing quite a few tackles. Costa equally so, only hitting just less than 50% of his really. Still getting a decent rating for that. Emmanuel Petit had a much more successful time, but still not perfect by any stretch. It's definitely more the attacking side of the game that's letting Rob down at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Costa, he brought his percentage of tackling up. He was roughly about 33% first half, so now he's won nearly half. He's a little bit better, but then again, he's had another key header in there. And to be fair, you can't knock him. That's a decent draft pick from him as well. I wouldn't expect. He told me that his draft pick was a centre half, and I was not expecting it to be George Costa, but he's proved with his start to the season he's been very good. And I think what he needs to do is, I mean, I've been difficult. I've been really bad with it, especially early doors in last save. And I know I've done it a little bit this save, but obviously it's all a bit needs must. Maybe he needs to settle a little bit on a bit of something and maybe just give it another run. And it showed they had far more of that game on the text than the stats probably show.
No, absolutely. As for the Oasis, Sorochinski continues to be a textbook Hodgie player, doesn't he? Getting man of the match for his performance tonight. Littered with 7s and 8s throughout the team. Solid away performance. The only thing that was missing really was the goal.
Yeah. Obviously, Contra moved up from that position that he was so good at Burn last iteration for up to wing and still getting an 8 and doing bits. You just think that's a big shutout performance. I mean, you've even got Stephen McPhail, big creative, just getting your foot on ball, centre midfield, and he's just there putting tackles in, and a couple of them are key as well. I think defensively, if you get any point away from home at this league, is incredibly hard to get, and I think Hodgie will be the happier at it too.
Well, it starts us off, and if that's the worst of all the games we get tonight, then we should be in for a decent night, that's for sure. But a point apiece for Triple P and Casuals. That brings us on next to Haggis at home to Dragons. And not the best of starts for Haggis so far this season.
No, the players he had in the positions that he is playing these players in, which was brilliant for him in his title winning season last time out. Probably not quite to the level, some of them. Obviously, Zeriberto, obviously, is he an upgrade on gigs? You don't know because he was that good for him last time out. But we know what he's capable of. But is he a little bit better with that sat back role? And I understand why he went back to DMR last time out, trying to get the best out of him. Figo is a horrible player to be getting things out of. But last game, we just know he made a massive difference in that massive comeback thing for him. And I definitely think that there's potential in this team for to do something. Again, I think the more attacking. I said to him as well, I've never seen Magnus Edmund get terrible ratings like that. Sander Vesterveld starting over Seaman after that performance.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. Seaman came on and got man of the match for his performance after only being on the pitch for 18 minutes or something, 20 minutes, and he still finds himself on the bench.
Yeah, which I can sort of understand a bit because at the end of the day, Toldo got dropped for Vesterveld in the last season as well, and Vesterveld were very, very good. But yeah, they'll probably run with Seaman for this. Interesting to see again how Amoroso goes again at AMC. Is a lot right.
Come on, Steve, take a breath, get it out.
It's a lot like Ronaldo for me, but neither nor. But obviously, he started off with a goal first game of the season as well. Big play for me. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Michelini playing and seeing how he gets on. A bit like Ferman has been doing it at Badgers, because I know he's a big rocks player, but his starts at season has proved that you can have probably DMCs of any sort of quality and they'll still turn up at this level.
As for Dragons, they're without Lee Bowyer. He's suspended. They line up like this. So let me see if I can remember this. Keane has replaced Bowyer. Sikoviak has replaced Back, who drops to the bench. Ronaldinho continues to partner Constantinou up top.
The only part of this team I feel have a little bit of weakness is that DMC duo. I can understand why Duggan wanted another. I'd probably myself play Keane, DMC, and Gerard MC, but I understand. But I think Keane were in MC when he got a red card. He's a bit more of a liability at DMC because he's a bit further back doing more tackles, but he's creative enough when he's got the ball to sort of contribute in MC. If you're looking at 11s v 11, this Dragons team probably should win this game, but going off that 3-3 last time out, maybe there's a bit of a kick-off to the season for this Aggies team.
Well, let's go to kick-off then. and get your actual score prediction ahead before we start.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say there. Sorry, I've just seen Duggan say Keane's 15 and editor for DMC, which I've never ever looked at. To be fair, with Roy Keane, but I am going to back Dragons 2-1 here.
2-1 to Dragons. Let's kick off and find out. Shearer with a couple of early opportunities. You will be interested. Oh, and Shearer does score on 13 minutes to give the home side the lead. There's a yellow card handed out as well to a Dragons player. Without giving too much away, if there is more shenanigans in the penalty area, Luis Figo has been taken off of penalties for Haggis. Big call by the manager. Another yellow card handed out to a Dragons player. Sander Westerveld having to make a couple of saves, but Haggis up the other end trying to double their advantage. Ronaldinho, the latest man, to put it over the bar. And there is Keane with his first goal on 39 minutes to level things up 1 apiece. Haggis still trying to force the occasion. Keane going in the book. That was definitely Roy Keane that time. Something that Duggan will be wary of. The more games Duggan loses, the closer we are to a redraft, says Macca. 1 apiece at half-time, and quite an entertaining half of football, that.
Yeah, again, Ian's proving that formation that he's created and what he's got in the background works, and it's obviously working with a different sort of type of player. I mean, I would like to see when if Figo does start spitting his dummy out. Obviously, he's playing McLean, who's a big Rocks player. Jafar to come in at some point is going to be really interesting. He's an absolute assist machine, as everybody's seen, and everybody's jumped on bandwagon and done real bits with him. But I think Ian will be happier of the two at the minute, but Dragons have got far more than enough dangerous players to nick this here.
Let's have a look at the home side first then. You're interested to see Amoroso. He's not really seeing that much of the ball at the moment. The only thing Shearer is doing is shooting every time the ball comes near him, but he's got his goal, so that's all Ian will care about. Westerveld, though. Are we about to see another goalkeeping shocker from Haggis and Seaman come on to save the day?
I feel so much for Ian because he seems to be the only player in this league since I've been involved. Since I was watching before when we were at Midlothian, he gets keepers. He has more keeper howlers than everybody, and I never understand it. We're talking seasoned keepers that are very, very good, and he constantly gets 4s and 5s with them. And I don't know what he can do to change it, apart from changing his keeper, but it's obviously not changing anything. And I feel massively for him. I really do.
So Amoroso coming off at half-time for Nakata. Figo is going to play in that hole. Understand that substitution?
Yeah, of course. I always think a forward, left, right, centre, or forward anywhere, they're difficult to get things out of. I always find that Figo's regen's better than him whenever you play him, but getting more attacking, get his foot on ball and see if he can do something with it.
Knowing Duggan as well as you do, how concerned is he going to be to see 3 yellow cards for his 2 centre-backs and Roy Keane?
I think Roy Keane's obviously the big one. I mean, the one thing I will say as well, on the flip side of Ian's keeper troubles, Victor Bayer so far, he said he was number 1. He was concerned because he seems to retire very early. Obviously, like I said, Dimbo's done well with the build, and he's been absolutely superb so far. So I take me off for Dragons for sticking with him. But again, there's a lot more to give in that team, especially when you look at Szymkowiak and how good he was in last iteration. And I certainly think he can certainly do it from start. But yeah, I think without a shadow of a doubt, I think Roy Keane is probably a bit tempestuous there. But again, what are his options? Probably Szymkowiak back to centre mid, way back in behind. But yeah.
So they are making a tactical change. Back is coming on, but it's for Ronaldinho. And they're going 2 behind 1 for the second half.
Well, Ronaldinho's been a bit of a letdown so far. I know we're only 4 games in, or 3.5 for Dragons at the minute. I can understand his sort of worry with him. He will come good, and I genuinely don't think for the level of player he is, a season 1 at this level, I think he still needs a little bit of coming into his own.
Let's resume the action then and head towards the hour mark. Shearer makes it 2-1 to the home side, almost straight from kickoff, and still they come forward, piling forward. And Ferdinand, of all the players to come back and bite Duggan, it's Ferdinand who makes it 3-1 as we stop the game more or less on the hour mark. What a second half performance this has already been by Haggis.
I mean, what else can you say? I mean, Vigo there, he's moved up, got involved. I'd be interested to see his stats, whether he's involved and got any of them assists. But whatever Ian's done so far, it's about him settling a bit, and they have done so far. And massive, massive kudos to him.
They're saying roll. Yeah, no, that's fine. Let's go to Dragons. Duggan needs to react. Luca Toni, the obvious answer, but what does he do with him?
I mean, Constantino on a 6, but he's on 91%. It shows he's probably not doing that much up there. Is he worth? I mean, he's a massive, massive Dragons player. Luca Toni he went in reserves season 1, played a game or 2 season 2, a couple more seasons. He went till season 4 and 5 that he were coming into his own. So I'm not sure.
This stage, with them losing by 2, would you be tempted to put Gerard DM on his own and go 3 up top, bring Toni on for Mjällby and put back and Toni up front with Constantino?
Either that or leave back in Šimkoviak and go 2-2 because back's better where he is than he is up there. But he's got to go do a bit of something and try and go for it.
So it's a straight swap, Toni for Constantino, but the wing backs have been pushed forward to wingers.
Well, as we know from Churchtown from last save, he was superb last season up there and assist playing on that. He's a left-sided player as much as he's left-right, and I think that's definitely a good decision to try and push him a bit further forward.
Let's go ahead then, resume the action. An hour played, Haggis currently 3-1 up. No need to slow this down currently unless Dragons get one. There it is. And it's Szczekowiak with his first of the season on 82 minutes, makes it 3-2. And could we have a dramatic end to this game? Luca Toni now goes out, 3 minutes to be added on. Volodenko picks it up off Figo. But now on the counter, Ferdinand, Scholes, Elber. Bayer bravely collects the ball, but Scholes picks it up loosely. Zé Roberto now, but Cafu stops it. Nakata comes forward. Free kick to the home side. Zé Roberto lines it up, deflects off the wall, and now it's out for a goal kick. There's the final whistle. Huge win that for Haggis. Are the problems starting to mount for Dragons even at this early stage?
I'd say not. I think it's more a case of keep with the process at the moment. Maybe go back to a 2 AMs and 1 up top from start. But end-to-end game, and again, set me off massively to Ian there, sticking with his morals. He got him out of jail last week, going back to what got him out of jail last week, and he scored 6 goals in what 135 minutes of football.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's have a look at the victorious home side stats first, and Alan Shearer picking up man of the match. Probably played a bit too long in the last iteration, but particularly season 1, he could be a big say this season, couldn't he?
Well, I mean, he did massive for Fulchester when he was playing as well. Season 1, Alan Shearer is as good as a lot of strikers that we'll probably see playing tonight. Interested, hey, Figo did get his assist, and then Elber popping in with 1 as well. You look at that, you've got what, 4 8s and a 9, and the rest of it's not that great. So I think that's a probably thing as well. There's a lot of steady performances in there. So I think that's probably the thing that Ian will be most happy with, that it seems like he's got some, especially looking at Zeriberto, he's given nothing there to that game, in fairness. Less than half his passes completed. I don't know how he's managed on a 7, really. But if he's still got a hell of a lot more to give and he's sticking 3 goals away, there's plenty to be optimistic about.
Definitely. Let's have a look at Dragons then. You said trust in the process. You don't think that pressure is building yet. You don't think the problems are too bad. Do the ratings reflect that? I mean, Luca Toni not really offered anything in the half an hour he was on the pitch. Duggan suggested his Nesta was broken, but he's won 5 of his 8 headers. He's won 7 of his 9 tackles. He can't have done much more.
No, he's done well, and Mialby's obviously.
He's even got the assist.
Yeah, as actually back off at bench, and I think Mialby is a reasonably good player. Interesting to see whether he can continue to be up to this standard, but I feel he's had a. That's not a. You've seen sides win with that level of performance and that level of ratings as well. It's certainly no time to panic at this present minute in time, though.
Okay. Congratulations, Haggis. Commiserations to the Dragons team. Let's move on to game 3, which is not Badgers Roos. We're saving that to the end. So let's go to the top of the list and let's go to Astor Athletic versus East Coast, 2 of the sides who have started very well so far this season. I believe both unbeaten. Coast obviously winning both of theirs. Let's start with the home side then. As you can see, without Salas, they go with a narrow formation.
Well, this is very stacking and Alf, very going into Astor Alf. The AMCs running into each other. There were always less arrows on it, if I remember rightly. On his previous times of playing it at Stackington, when he got to that final with Stackington. Going to be very, very interesting to see how this shapes up. I mean, Mark Viduka, he was very good for us in the last iteration. In his minimal games, he was 1-2. And then he went to Hulls on loan and did very well. Then went to Agis and did very well again. Would you be starting him over Enrico Chiesa? I'd say for definite. I'd probably have Chiesa as a bench spot to cover both your AMC and your striking. But
I think Alf's looking at it, 1 start, 1 sub appearance, no goals. He wants to offer something a bit different alongside Van Nistelrooy.
Well, yeah, I mean, Chiesa season 1 should be capable enough to compete. He said he would try to get best out of Ortega, and probably that position is probably the one that he can do. I feel he was a bit of a letdown in last save for a majority of people. I think the only time he really played well was when Scott got decent numbers out of him playing at a DMR. So it's going to be very interesting. The thing I do like about it is Ferguson with that arrow, trying to get him more involved. He's sort of been sat so far, just not really getting too involved. Like I say, 3 appearances, he's got no contributions whatsoever to anything. He had more than that playing at DMC with an arrow from you. So there's going to be and I think it's proved as well. It shows that I was using him wrong at the very start of the last season. Robin, I was playing him at left wing at 17, and no, he's not too young. I was just using him in the wrong position because he's been very good so far as a 17-year-old. So going to be very interesting to see how. I don't think he was expecting Dimble to play with wingers, and I think that's where he said he'd come a cropper.
Well, let's have a look at Dimble's side then. Currently sat second. We saw earlier one of 3 sides who have won 3 from 3, purely there because they've conceded 1 additional goal to Burn. They're without 3 players, no Day, no Morientes, no Santa Cruz today. So this is how they line up. We all know how big a fan you are of Dimble, and we all know what most people think of the job he did at Churchtown. Is this his chance to go on and achieve some real glory, do you think, with this East Coast Cosmos team?
Yes. I mean, if you look at Zinone, who is more of a midfielder than a defensive midfielder, actually he is actually more of a right winger as opposed to anything else. But obviously brought Didier Gattin in the draft. Baumer has been one that I think he struggled a bit in last save, but he's done very well, I think, so far. For Dimble, obviously, like I say, he's rating well. It's back to what did really well for them. I think the big one for me is seeing how Franca starts. Franca coming to his own a little bit towards back end of the last save, and he really did well at Astor. and I think he's one of them that's capable from start. And again, he's more of an AMC than a striker, which I didn't realise till you start looking a little bit deeper when you're involved in this, as opposed to just battering AA. But I think Thierry Henry is the one. Obviously, I let him go to Cosmos. Never been a fan of him. He's played majority of last save in AMC, but you can't knock that steward out from AMC. It's to have 2 goals from an AMC after 3 games at this level is brilliant.
Well, we know that East Coast are overwhelming favourites in the pre-game predictions. Having seen both sides on the screen now, what are your thoughts for this game?
Well, I backed him 2-1, expecting Alf to probably run with his 2-2-3-1-2. But if they've got, I mean, it was a little bit like Duggan said about us on Sunday. If his wingers can exploit that bit of a gap down wide, I won't be surprised to see it 3-1. But I'll stick with my 2-1 original. 2-1.
Let's kick this one off then and see. Van Bronckhorst involved early, Zanoni as well. Nelka, a lot of the onus on him tonight, you think, with the injuries to other forward players. But there is Anelka on 23 minutes to open the scoring for the away side. Yellow card awarded there just after. Asta trying to get a quick equaliser, but they don't manage it. And Anelka, with already his 5th of the season in just 4 games, makes it 2-0 to East Coast. Could we be seeing Anelka staking an early claim to be the top goal scorer this season? Van Nistelrooy trying his best, but nothing doing for him thus far. Just waiting for the halftime whistle to go. There it is, Steve. And East Coast going 2 up at the break. Anelka doing the damage.
I think Alfred right said where he thought he was trying to catch Dimble on top, but I think the complete reverse has happened. Because of how well Dimble's done so well, you didn't expect him to change it up. I totally understand why Alf did, but he's going away from home to a side that's been very solid, and before tonight not conceded a goal like Vikings, if I remember rightly.
So as it stands, before these games, Vikings had only conceded 1. Coast, I think, had conceded 3.
No, Asta before tonight.
Oh, Asta, sorry. I can't recall.
No, for some reason they've conceded very, very minimal goals. So I understand why he's on it, but that's a super performance from East Coast to start with.
I've just seen Scott put, can he be the penultimate game, please? I'm saying, yeah, that's what we're aiming to do at least. Let's have a look at the individual stats then. And when you look at that and you look at the bench, where can Asta improve this? Is it a straight swap Simic for Novotny, or alter the tactic again and get Viduka up there as well to try and force the issue?
I mean, yeah, probably the... I mean, he's attempted 2 tackles as Simic, and not completed any of them. He's not had an edit to do. They've got 2 of them against Nicholas and Elker, who's just an absolute riot. And yeah, probably that would be my plan. In fairness, it's when you've got likes of Ndai, he's still. I think that 7's a bit harsh for him. He's completed all his tackles. I know only one of them's key, but again, he's another one that's had no headers to deal with. I think the headering stats are endemic there, but 2-0 down and your keeper's got a 7, it still shows that Lafropoulos has been very good as well.
As for East Coast, well, Coast by name, Coast by nature, I suppose. Dimble doesn't really have to do anything at this stage. It all looks very comfortable.
No, it doesn't, and it's not overly enthralling, is it? When you look at the all stats, but obviously he'll be happy there. Gat's got his assist, but yeah, I think he'll be happy that they look as well. I know I say it quite a lot, but they've got a little bit more to give, probably bar and Elka as well. So we could easily see a little bit more carnage in the second half.
So Alpha's reacted. He's saying Simic off and Ndai to DC, Pires to MC. So I'm just looking for clarification. That means Ferguson drops back in between Raymer and Van Bronckhorst. Oh, he wants Ferguson MC as well. Okay.
Oh my God, that's
So
nearly. That's more narrow than Jens's first formation with Hull last save. He had 3 AMCs, I thought 3 up top, but that is oh my God. Looks like a LB pencil that you used to have when you were a kid.
Are we expecting any additional arrows on either of these two, do you think?
I think he might as well. What has he got to lose, in fairness? But 5 banks of 2 don't bode well. Gimble's already running riot.
As is. It can be as it. I presume he just means yes. Go with this. The tower. And Dimble's saying keep it as is. So let's resume the second half. Do you see this tactic alteration helping Astor at all?
Maybe not. Maybe not. If it does, it's genius. That's all I'll say.
Let's. Must have been shit. And there's Duckett. Let's see how the 5 banks of 2 do then as we resume the second half with Pires on the pitch. I hope this ends up 8-0, says Duggan. There is more opportunities for the away side. Just feels like any moment. And there it is. There's the hat trick for Anelka. 3-0 and just an hour played. They could run riot here, couldn't they, Steve?
Yeah, I think that we're always another goal for East Coast. We're definitely on cards with that going that narrow. Raymer is not somebody I'm overly enthralled with myself. I think he's probably got a better knocking about somewhere to play there, or a better putting Novotny at centre half and even having him die there. Didn't make a lot of sense keeping Raymer on pitch, but Nicholas Anelka, season 1 in this league, just doing that is it's massive.
When you consider the start Astor have made, this is going to be a bit of a frustration for Alf. He's been tactically outclassed. He tried to outfox, and instead he's been outfoxed. His alterations at half time haven't helped at all, and it's going to put a real spanner in the works now, isn't it? Because he's going to have to admit defeat and go back, or as the sort of saying that we've used a couple of times, trust in the process and go again.
I think he trusted his process for his first 3 games and he's done well. He's tried something a bit different. I think I wouldn't be surprised to either see him go back to original, what he's been playing, or maybe something a little bit different to sort of incorporate some of the better players he's got to maybe utilise them a bit better.
Sorry, excuse me. Just seen Rox's comment. Dimble's playing against a formation that's basically 2D. Let's not get carried away. Let's really kind of you to do this the week after you play Dragons Alpha. Appreciate it. Let's go over to East Coast then. Would you be tempted to pull Anelka off now? Give him a half-hour rest. He's got his hat trick.
No, never. He's got.
Did you hear Agat as well? I think it was Tato saying that Agat will be running riot. There he is on his 10 rating.
Well, yeah, but you take Anelka off now. Anelka unhappy at being substituted in the last match. No chance. Just keep him as happy as a pig in shit. Just keep him going. Franca, maybe I'd maybe look at protecting maybe Vogel. I think Biscan's less likely to stick a foot in than Vogel. But yeah, there's not much. I don't think there's anything there other than Vogel and Biscan on yellows that Dimble can be worried about.
Alf, I've already put the diagonal arrow on. I've got for hope you're wearing clothes. Vogel is coming off. And Saha for Franca, 2 up top. Henri central, no arrow. Trying to get Louis Saha some goals in this game as well.
He loves a no arrows. I remember when Martin run a Scarborough save, he played the same formation as Ian, and he went 45 games, won them all, and then he drew his last game. But he played the same formation as Ian with no arrows, and he does like.
Well, there is no need to slow this one down because you can only really envisage it getting worse potentially. Still playing that quite narrow formation, particularly in defensive areas. 75 now on the clock. Viduka goes in the book. Plenty of chances being missed by East Coast. Van Bronckhorst gets a talking to, and there's the full-time whistle, and that is just about as easy as it gets, isn't it?
It's all-round dominant performance, isn't it? Probably back to the drawing board for Alf, and I'm sure obviously his regular formation he's been playing or something a bit more solid with more in a DM line next time out.
Let's have a look at his side stats. So we had the 5 for Simic, we had the 5 for Raymer. They both got replaced at that point. Lefopoulos, he tried his best. It's fair to say his rating did drop a little bit. Van Nistelrooy put the work rate in, which isn't always something attributed to him, but it just wasn't to be for them today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to see there Van Nistelrooy, in fairness. He'll serve him well in player ratings. I mean, Barry Ferguson's had very little to do, but just run around trying to kick people. Yeah, like I said, I mean, even in Dye, he's done his very best being shifted between, though. I think you probably see, like I said, we definitely see a different Asta. But the thing is now, obviously, Dimble knew that Alf might change it up a bit, or he'll try to catch him on top. It's what does he do next time out? Does he stick with this, or does he think about it and go back to what served him so well for the first 3 games?
Okay, and as for East Coast, as we alluded to at the break, so Anelka man of the match, no surprise for his hat trick. Gat had the freedom of Oldham to get that 10 out of 10 rating, but it was a good team performance behind that as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Zinone, I think as 6 for Zinone is still decent there. I mean, obviously in Dudley Hill's title winning season, he sat there and got 7 after 7 after 7, but he just sits there and does that. I think the team as a whole is very, very solid. And then when you look at Biscan, he's not won a tackle, but everybody knows what Biscan's capable of at DMC. He's got players there and contributed as much as they should, and he's still come away with a 3-0 win. And not what you can say, but well done.
No, absolutely well done. And commiserations to Asta Athletic and Alf, who has said that the positives, no sending off.
That's fair enough.
Let's move on, and we are going to Celtics, who have lost every game so far this season, if I remember correctly. Lost all 3 so far, conceded 7 in their last 2. They're coming up against a Gazelles team who are currently one of those 3 sides we spoke about who have won all 3 games. No Joe Cole, no Maldini for this one, so it doesn't get any easier. But what Greasy has done is gone very defensive, and that is as strong a defensive midfield line, I think, as you will see anywhere.
Midweek, he said, I'm thinking of doing this. I said, well, if you're thinking about it, roll with it. He's tried to be a bit different because he's probably got better attacking players than he had from even the start from Loco. I mean, obviously, Delivio is not somebody I'm overly enamored with. Massimo Carrera, season 1, I sort of get why I brought him in. He can be fantastic for 2 seasons, even though he's 37. I mean, you look at his stats there, apart from his crossing for a 37-year-old, they're still fairly up there. Would I have probably started Baldini and get him developing his stats? Probably maybe so, because I know he's a big fan of Baldini. But is he going to have that much to do with that wall in front of him? Obviously, Josatos, Zelius, Davids. Takinade as well. he is very good. I know. Did he end up at Haggis last season?
Yeah, Ian, he was there definitely for the last 2 seasons, and Ian kind of kept testing the water, but would only kind of give him one game and then drop him completely, and then give him one game and drop him completely.
Yeah, and he's more than capable. Is he as strong as the other DMCs in the league? Probably not so, but when he's got 4 other around him, I don't think it overly matters too much. It's just that, can he get that MC, AMC strike kick? Has he got enough there to go there? I'm not a big fan of Emerson. I'm certainly not a big fan of Paulo Sergio. He's obviously...
just as you say, you're not a fan of Paulo Sergio as well.
Yeah, but yeah, he's obviously end of his tether with Shevchenko already.
Not even in the match day squad,
which I don't blame him for. But whose responsibility is that? Is that his, or is it Shevchenko? I don't know. But be interested to see how it goes with this. Back to his well, it's the pit of misery formation, as he seems to call it over there.
Yeah, the Dilly Celtics formation is what it's called. One final thing, thoughts on Canizares between the sticks for this one? Obviously, choices of Marcos, Peruzzi, and I think, both Peruzzi and Marcos have started games already, both conceded goals. So he's like, right, let's go with the third choice then, see if that's any better.
Marcos is mentally weak as piss. I'd never ever play him or buy him ever whatsoever. Peruzzi did a very, very good job for him after he let Bartes go. So I can understand why he sort of started with him. But what's he got to lose by running with Canizares now, who again is a decent keeper, and when his regen comes round, he's really good as well.
Gazelles go unchanged. They're not really having to work very hard for stuff at the moment. They're just plodding along nicely, getting their results.
No, I think the only change we've seen from sort of the game week 1 over the last couple of games has been Galka starting over Petrov. I'm a massive fan of Petrov. But Luigi Di Biagio has been absolutely unreal. Again, season 1, I think he can be. He's very, very good. Just see, I mean, obviously, when I say unreal, that it doesn't show it there, but he's just been a bit of a solid core there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping he sticks with this a little bit, because it's a bit unknown, really. Is this 2-2-4-1-1 as a regular carry on? It'd be interesting to see how it goes. Oliveira, I'm not a massive fan of on his bench, but Adilson probably won't be moving much, and Pizarro started season really well. Let's just see if he can get what Ian did at Mendieta as the games and seasons roll on.
Okay, your score prediction for this one, please.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at these comments there. I'll tell you what I did here. Where I went. I predicted 3-1 Celtics, but then that was before Greavesy sent me his tactics. So I'm going to go 2-1 Gazelles. Sorry, Greavesy.
We've had a request to see your sack. Should we wait till maybe post watershed time, and
no,
then we can?
You'll see that when Small Law starts again next week.
Let's kick this one off. Absolutely nothing happens in the first 13 minutes, and then Gazelles, with the second attack of the game, take the lead through Adilson, and now have Celtics got enough about them to go forward and get an equaliser. Big injury that for Zayaleus, the centre of that 5.
It's got to be
Redondo, straight swap. Have we seen Greavesy? Is he about in the chat tonight?
I haven't seen him.
No, I don't think I have either. We'll give him sort of 30 seconds or so just to check. 7 players in defence DM against 2 attackers, says Jens. But if he's not, then Redondo, the obvious swap in this one. But what a great start for Gazelles again.
Yeah, I can't see any other than them going on and showing it out and winning this, in fairness.
Rock's predicting a 5-5 thriller. I can't even see 5 Celtics players getting in the opposition half at the moment. Still no sign of Greavesy, so let's just go with Redondo as the straight swap. and we will carry on till half-time. I'm sure PRG was first in the chat. And there's Adilson making it 2. He did say hello. We've got to half-time, and Adilson's brace gives the away side a 2-goal lead. And again, Celtics being absolutely dominated.
Yeah, that's really dominant from Gazelles. If Rivaldo has done something here, without a shadow of a doubt, nobody else has got what they've got out of him. But it's no surprise that Tortuga have not competed at all attacking wise. But one thing I know Dan did make a big shout about before the season started was Adilson.
He did.
He said he will do very well, and thus far he's been proved absolutely right. And again, take me off to him for doing that.
Looking at it doesn't make great reading, does it? But you mentioned Delivio. He's not had a great game at all. Another goalkeeper conceding 2 goals. I'm actually interested to see who he's got. I mean, are we suggesting Langfield maybe getting a call up after the next round of games just to try somebody else?
Well, he never got a game for Dudley. Oh, he played 1 or 2 games for Dudley, I think. But well, he can't do no worse, and I probably would be running with Langfield if, again, he's got in the space of 4 games, he's had Campbell-esque what he's had for 5 seasons in the space of 4 games.
Absolutely. Well, still no sign of Greasy, who Ian was right. He was the first man in the chat, but maybe he's had to disappear. Let's have a look at Gazelles, who Dan has already said, as is, he is not concerned at this point at all, and probably with good reason.
Yeah, really solid performance. And like I said there, Rivaldo, another assist, has been like nobody's trusted him or played him, and he's put a lot of faith in bringing him in and playing him, and he deserves massive credit for doing that.
Let's resume the action then, see if Celtics can play their way back into this, or if Gazelles will carry on at an absolute canter. We've already reached the hour mark, very little action at all. Given that Greasy's not here, we're not going to change anything unless he does pop up in the chat, but what would you be doing in this situation? I mean, Brozek has to be coming on, surely.
Yeah, for probably one of DMC's at least, going 2 up, or Raul and Sergio behind one of them. Greaves is tried going attacking and he's not done great. He's tried going back to himself and not doing great. I think you might see massive changes and big players going if there is a mid-season window. And Ian straight in there, he can do his tactics if you.
I refuse to be drawn on whether Ian can do the tactics or there'll be a mid-season window. I am keeping very stum on both. Would you be with the relative ease, Gazelles? I know it's only 2 at the moment, and anything can change at 2. We've seen how dangerous it is. Would you be making any changes here?
No, definitely not. I mean, when you've got one player below 90%, it shows that how easy it's been, and fair play for Dan there for making a change. In fairness, it's just it seems like they're just strolling through the game, and they will continue to do so.
Let's resume the action then and see how that changed. Oh, and the substitute has gone off injured just 2 minutes later. He's going to wish he hadn't bothered.
Well, I mean, it's obviously Petrov for him and swap with Rivaldo, I would have thought, but it's...
I think so too. I'll get it ready.
Go one at back.
But yeah, it's been, I think it was Duggan was saying, if you go back to when Dan became a bit more hands-on with Gazelles, the form he's been showing has been sensational, really, and he's carried that on with this team.
Oh, definitely. Very well. I mean, you had Clarence Seedorf not even averaging a 7 rating.
Fucker! And it goes from bad to goes from bad to worse for Greasy, who gets Redondo sent off now. I'm not changing anything here. It's still quite balanced.
Yeah.
Dan, you are allowed to change it as it's a red card if you want to do anything. I don't imagine you will. Martin saying Nedved could do with being less shite.
There is that. There is that point.
I imagine Dan will say roll please or as is please, because Celtics continue to offer absolutely nothing.
Pretty terrible, in fairness. And I hate saying that. I've got a lot of time for Greavesy. Speak to him a lot, but something's not quite clicking.
No, absolutely not. Gazelles. The only criticism you might have is that they've not scored more than the 2 up to this point. Of course, they've wasted quite a number of chances. It would appear, at least.
I mean, definitely so. But if you're saying that and you're in Dan's shoes, you're taking that regardless. But yeah, there maybe could have been a bit more ruthless. But that's again 4 out of 4 for Gazelles, and with people, they've got myths, they've got this, that, and other, and just proving people wrong. So fair play.
And as we said, just utterly dominant from Gazelles. Celtics just did not get going, could not compete, and really, it should have been more.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but I'm just laughing at Ian's comment about if you're wearing that, can't it? But, yeah, that's unreally dominant, and it's just I don't think Greaves is a long shot man, but 4 none on target have got to be all long shots, and Gazelles roll on and continue to, in the terms of what Martin started and Dan has continued to rise up.
Let's have a look at the individual ratings then. Canizares went from a 5 to a 9 in that second half.
Well, I think that's a little bit of consolidation for Greavesy. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, when you look at a couple of them, Davids has put a shift into the LS before he went off. Paulo Sergio, which I hate as a player, in fairness, putting a shift in. The overall ratings, apart from the Carrera 5, are not overly bad. Just the amount of people he had behind the halfway line, it was never really going to contribute anything going forward.
As for Gazelles, Adilson, not surprisingly, getting man of the match. It was a good brace for him. And again, similar to what we said about, I want to say it was the Casuals, just a very solid team performance. You know, it's not like they've all excelled with 8s, 9s, and 10s littered all over the park, is it?
No, you got 1-9, 1-8, and they come away with a solid away win at 2-0, which shows that they're in there for a dogfight. And I think anybody playing Gazelles now might be second guessing what they're going to do going forward.
Just seeing what's going on in the chat, I'm interested in your thoughts on this. So, Coast going into this, 3 wins from 3. They come up against Asta, who people seemingly think handed them the victory. Gazelles, 3 wins from 3. They've come up against Celtics, who, depending on your interpretation of his tactics, seems to have handed them the victory because they haven't had to work particularly hard for it. I wonder what will happen in the Bostock-Burn game. I can't see Ian just giving away. Well, they're both unbeaten, aren't they? Both sides. It'd be interesting to see what happens in that one.
I think Greaves is going back to basics with Greaves. I understand what Scott's saying with that, but he's tried being a bit attacking, tried being a bit more flamboyant, and that's not worked. So he's tried going back to what he feels he does best, and that's not worked as well. So I don't know. I think there's certainly one person who's playing tonight, who's in the chat, who will be reminding him of whatever's going on quite regularly going forward.
Well, we move on to game number 5 of the evening. And that sees us go to Fulchester, who are at home to Vikings, and 2 of the great characters of the league.
Oh, of course, yeah, mate, yeah. And they're both superb gentlemen who obviously hopefully come Edinburgh in November, as well as we've obviously met each other when Jens were over here. But yeah, they're And that is a massive, massive change up for Fulchester, is that?
Were you expecting it?
No. I certainly wasn't expecting to see a 2-3-2 for definite.
I'm intrigued by the front two players who have historically struggled to have the impact that statistically they should have. What's your thoughts on Vieri and Owen?
I mean, Owen, has he scored twice this season? I know he scored a penalty. Vieri should be very, very good. Can we just have a quick look at his squad overview again, please, Matt? Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't know whether to disrespect anybody's selections. I'd have probably been having Petkov at DMC with maybe
Gattuso.
Yeah, with Gattuso at DMR, just as a more solid option. But
you've got to respect the fact that Maka is trying to do something a little bit different. So many people play that same formation. It is nice to see people trying to vary it up a little bit.
Oh, of course, yeah. And I know Burke Okan, early days at Last Save were very, very good for Maka. He's put some performances, so I can understand why he's put him in there. I'm saying what I'd do personally if I were playing this formation with what he's got. I like the formation. I like he's trying to get Riquelme involved. I know he scored as well. That little arrow. It's just, you've got the 3 centre midfielders that are creative going forward players as well. Maybe a sort of defensive-minded one in there. But I think this is it's unheard of for Mac doing this. And I'm really, really excited to see how it goes, doing something completely un-Mac-alike, which I think will be really good.
And as you can see going along the ticker along the bottom, this is the closest of all the games in terms of Swan's predictions. I think it's 7 votes for Fulchester, 7 votes for draw, and 5 for a Vikings win. If I've read that correctly, ticking along. So very tight for people choosing on this one. Let's have a look at the away side. And Vikings line up unchanged again, if I'm right. Yes, unchanged. I think I saw the comment after Maka posted his team to Twitter shortly before the stream went live. Jens slightly concerned that Walker is potentially going to be outnumbered in that midfield.
Well, his only benefit is if Riquelme is pushing forward that much. But I mean, Vikings have been really, really solid and good this season. I know Jens were quite vocal about his team, but Carl Jacques season 1 can do what he's doing. Mike Duff, again, I've never been a fan of playing him on right. Ian did it last season, and he's been very good for Jens now as well, which might start changing your thoughts up of where you're going to play players. Again, it's becoming especially with the formation I've just seen a Max there. It's going to be so tight as this game, and I'm glad to see Jens went after his first game. He put Tudor on DMC. I love Tudor, but he's more of a coming off at bench man. Every time he played for me after I got him off Scott, he got an 8 coming off at bench. After getting man of match against me a couple of times for Scott, but when I played him from a start, he was always struggling a little bit. So I think he's got better options beside, and especially Eric Addo, which I'll obviously have a lot of love for. I think on paper, it's probably now seeing Maka's formation, probably one of the toughest games at night to call.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you to do that anyway. What is your prediction, please?
I think Fulchester would change up on where they're playing players. Might just have a little bit too much, so I'm going to go 2-1 Fulchester.
I feel like I'm missing one in my list here. PPP, Haggis. Oh, no, that is awful. I thought I was missing one along the ticker. Apologies. I'd do it after each game, but I still found I'm missing one. Let's go to kickoff then. Fulchester and Vikings away kit. I believe the first time we've seen that this season.
Looks very thorish.
Maka predicting a 0-3 loss. Gattuso red card. Fed up of this season already. he says. Let's kick off and find out if he will be correct. It is the away side with the first opportunity, but here come Fulchester. Seeing Alex trying to get involved, Okan trying to get involved, Crespo missing the opportunity, Owen and Vieri playing it amongst themselves, Quelme getting involved, Alex again trying to create, and Etsabaria on 29 minutes is having to be substituted off. Do you imagine a straight swap with Rayed or possibly Alan Smith coming on?
Well, it's either Alan Smith on the two at top with Jackson behind, or Rayed on. If I'm honest, I'd probably do a Rayed here and swap him with Border, because Border is a forward left as well. So, but that's just
it is Rayed coming on, so it's a straight swap for the Vikings. Let's resume the action and see if we can get some goals. And there is, and it's Justin Walker on half an hour, makes it 1-0 to the away side. And for those who like myths to be busted, they will not be happy. And there's Crespo making it 2-0 on 38 minutes, but it's 2-1, a sensational goal by Alex. And then Gattuso does get sent off as predicted by his manager. What on earth has happened in this last 10, 12 minutes, Steve?
I mean, it's obviously Ambrosini for Seedorf, and I mean, look at him there with a 5. But I mean, Raquel there with a 5 as well. I genuinely, looking at his bench, I've nothing to even offer advice-wise here. Not that I'm one to be asking for advice or anything like that, but wow.
So Ambrosini will almost certainly be coming on just to offer that bit of protection. But like you say, it's who for? I mean, possibly, I'm not suggesting it's the right move. Do you put Seedorf out here and drop Okan back to keep Alex and Raquelme in midfield?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. Otherwise, to be fair though, if I'm in Macca's head and I'm as fuming as Macca would be at this present time,
his laptop is out the window, that's for sure.
I'd be Ambrosini, DMC, and bringing Huntelaar on for Seedorf, and just like going, oh yeah, well I think I like that. I'd probably have maybe a little bit of an arrow on Alex or Seedorf to AMC, but yeah, again, just
wait, Macca's confirmation that is how he wants it to look. Jens, of course, you're able to make changes with it being a red card, so if you can let me know if you want to do anything as well, please. Just before half time is a crucial time to get the red card, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, I think Macca's bench options don't give him any option to change much more than he's done as well.
So Mac has confirmed that's how he wants to see it out. Just wait for Jens to confirm if he's doing anything at this stage. Talk me through, while we do wait, the impact. So that's Walker's second goal in 4 games. He's also got an assist. For anyone who think he didn't warrant a place in the Super League, has that already been thwarted?
Oh, definitely. He should have been in many more iterations going further back. I remember when we were talking and we were doing his draft picks, Tato's face, because he wanted him, when Jens said Justin Walker, it was like something he just lost a child. And I understand that, because he's very, very good, and he's just proving that he can do bits.
So we've got to half-time. It is 2-1 to the away side. Looking at the balance of play, arguably deserved, it must be rattling Macca that they just got themselves back in the game, and then Gattuso gets himself sent off.
Yeah, I mean, there's positives there. Everything they've attacked has been on target. In terms of passes, tackles won, headers won, it's much of a muchness as well. So they're very much in it with that. I wouldn't be surprised to see another Fulchester goal, in fairness, but it's whether they can hold the Vikings out for a third.
Well, Macca's already said to crack on. Do you understand that in the situation he finds himself in?
Yeah, because what's he going to bring on for, say, Seedorf or he's probably got an alarm on for Owen or Vieri, but it's probably season one. Yes, Claire Huntelaar. He's not gonna contribute as much as either of them two, and I don't like Michael Owen, and I won't put Huntelaar in front of Owen. So, I totally understand where he's at.
Jens also going as is, so we can rejoin the action for the second half. Vikings currently 2-1 up, heading towards the hour mark. Desai goes in the book, and there's Owen with a great chance, fails to score. And now it goes from bad to worse as there's an injury, and it is for Michael Owen. So we are going to see Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, you imagine.
Yeah, I apologize. I feel that me talking about that has enabled that. I've got weird things with Champ. If you talk about certain players or you talk about certain things, and it all falls into.
Do you know what? I'm going to say it now. I do feel for Maka at this point because he has had injuries and red cards in every single game. He has already replaced, I think, 3 players in his original 24.
Yeah, I'd probably be sticking arrows on Alex and Seedorf as well, me personally, just to try and do.
And then there's Tato really rubbing the salt in the wounds as well. Let's resume and head towards the hour. Klaas-Jan Huntelaar is on for the home side. And there is Crespo's goal to make it 3-1. Yellow card for Vieri. And Vieri misses another opportunity. I mean, there's only a defender left on the bench, so not much to do. Like I say, the only thing really is maybe a move around of these or a section of these 4 or arrows on the midfielders.
Yeah, I mean, Seedorf doing Seedorf things. Like I say, we were talking about him with Gazelles last season. I think he got 10 assists, but he finished on 6.9 summit rating, and it's like, how's he contributed that and not contributed to his rating or how well he's played? I tried him, Duggan tried him. It's he's a bit of a Super League. I think
perhaps Dan is the man with the Midas touch.
Well, maybe so, mate. But I think a Super League myth score. I think Seedorf's up there with the very, very best of them, and I include Raquel May and whatever in that.
As for Vikings, let's look at their side after that slight tactical tweak by Maka. Strong ratings throughout. Look how many 8s you've got in there, and then Crespo with his 2 goals rating at 10. Do you go for the jugular here if you're Vikings? Already start looking at goal difference and what a contributing factor that could be? Are you looking to get Alan Smith playing in some sort of form?
No, I'll be sending as is. In fairness, I mean, he's got Crespo firing probably better at the minute than he did at Ulls. I see Maka there says Seedorf's got 2 assists, and do you know what? When he's not contributing stats wise, it's weird that that's what he does. Contributes in terms of a bit of an assist. I'd possibly be just looking at. I mean, Saeed's brought his rating up. Looking at what he's got a yellow card there. Would you possibly look at Ado for Desai just to, just to make sure he don't get sent off? But apart from that, I don't think he's got anything to be disappointed with there. So probably not.
So it is pretty much as you've said there. Ado coming on for Desai and then swapping sides with Saeed. As we resume the action on 62 minutes, it is Fulchester 1, Vikings 3. A yellow card there for Walker, I believe. Crespo misses a chance for a hat-trick. Fulchester still trying to get themselves back in this game. Will slow it down if they get 1, but now Vikings, it looks like 4 minutes to be added on. Into injury time. Diving header from Huntelaar fails to score, and the final whistle goes. Fulchester United 1, Vikings 3. Fulchester definitely, to their credit, battled hard in there.
Very, very good second. I mean, I think the bad really. I mean, you look at Vikings. I think there were 12 shots with 7 on target before half time. They've gone really well there in the second half. That diving header at end looked like could have been a goal. I think he just needs a little bit of luck going his way. And once it starts going a bit his way, his luck, I think they'll still be in.
Well, yeah. I mean, as I say, he's had to like strip his squad down more than anyone else already in terms of injuries. It's not even the suspensions as much as the injuries. Every player who gets injured is out for between 1 and 3 months at the moment. And then you get things like this happening when they're in the game, but the opposition just manage to score seemingly every time they go forward. I mean, just looking at that as I pull the ratings up on the screen, the majority of players have played a very active part.
I mean, Seedorf's done better since he moved out, right? I'm happy for him that Abiati's come to the party a little bit there as well. It's not a disgraceful performance by any stretch of imagination. Ambrosini's come and done a great job. Huntelaar's done next to no. I don't know why he's done his 7 there, but what options does he have? But I think if he just keeps plugging and keeps going with what is genuinely Maka tactics, I think tactically wise tonight, and I apologise if I'm out of order with this, if it had gone with what is Maka, I think it might have been a lot closer game.
Okay. Crespo picks up man of the match for his 2 goals. There was the goal also for Walker, who did get booked, as did Desai. But again, superb performance by Vikings, who weren't particularly fancied at the start of the season, but they continue to tick along nicely early doors.
Yeah, sorry, before I comment on that, I just see Maka, why is that? Yeah, winning tackles and headers. It's like, well, because that's what it does. But the big thing there is you've got Carl Jacks, season 1, who can do it season 1. He's got an assist. Marco Boda, again, an assist. And Mike Duff playing out on that right with another assist. You know, players that are coming to 4 with what could seem a pretty weak in terms of what the other teams are, Viking side. But as a team collective, are very solid.
Well, congratulations to Vikings, who pick up yet another win early doors. And that means we have arrived at our penultimate game of the night. And it is Bostock Stanley at home to Northern Burn. And we saved this game for a reason. This could be an absolute cracker, couldn't it, Steve?
It could, but the first thing I see there, I see his AMC side of him, Filippo Inzaghi.
It is. Not a fan?
Well, he's an outright striker. I mean, obviously, Ian's got nothing to answer for as a champion, and like for what he's done over the old last save with Burn. That intrigues me massively. Yeah. I've never seen that before, and I doubt after this game we'll probably see it again. But then again, he'll probably got a goal or 2 or get an assist or 2. And
so to explain it, so Jeremy's is suspended. So Scally's come from centre midfield to defensive midfield. Kuhl's gone from attacking midfield to centre midfield, and then Inzaghi's come into the AM line next to Keane, who has swapped over to the opposite side from where he's been playing all season.
My opinion, for how good he was for Agis in the last season or 2, I'd have probably just brought in Elguera, just sitting there, and left the rest of his team as it is. I'm surprised with Ian as like constricted he is with his formation and as is, that he's moved so many players about. I would have expected him just to put somebody in there to fill a gap. And Elguera would have done that, in my opinion. But let's say, how can we argue with somebody that's won 3 out of 3 anyway? So,
absolutely. Let's have a look then at the Bostock side, who are without Khan. Let's not forget the absolute carnage in their game last time out. They were 2-0 up. They were 3-0 up after the break, and then it all just fell apart. Scholes got one back, then Khan got sent off. Figo missing a penalty for Okoronkwo pulled one back, and then a late second penalty by Figo. Much fancied at the start of the season, unbeaten start to the season, backs up those claims. And again, you just look at that team. Just is it 1 change or is it 2? No, it is just the 1 change. It's very strong, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and I'm a fan of Mazzantini, as is been known before. I think he's more than capable in a season 1, possibly season 2 keeper at this level. But in front of that, what's got to change is just going to bat his business, and it's a very strong. If you put Khan there at that keeper, I think the only spot that Scott could look to improve on is obviously his left winger. Obviously, that may come in time, but when you've got 10 other players that are top notch, yeah, I mean, obviously, we let Totti go to them for Nikiforenko because we realised Nikiforenko couldn't be as bad as he's been, and he's been all right so far for us.
Yep.
I think he's probably contributed a little bit more than Totti has. As long as he contributes more than Totti has, I'll be happy. But to be fair, after 3 games of the last iteration, Totti had about 6.8 for Dudley, which is why he ended up going to slots for Tomasi and Mazantini. So
let's have a look then. Ricardinho does make the bench, potentially making his debut. So we've got Northern Burn in their away kit. The dark contrast. Away to Bostock Stanley. Iteration ding ding. Can I ask you please for the penultimate time tonight, your prediction?
Yeah, I think Scott said there that he wanted Totti as captain. I don't know if he is, but let me look at what I said.
I've made Totti captain.
Yeah. I went with the Bostock 2-1 here.
Bostock 2-1. Starting very quickly are the home side, but Burn not to be out-muscled and out-battled by any stretch of the imagination. Del Piero with an attempt. And there's Montella, but it won't count. Aymar was offside. Aymar then makes up for that by scoring on 26 minutes to give the home side the lead. Looking very dominant at the moment, Bostock, and could easily double their advantage before half-time. And it's Aymar shooting from range again. 2 minutes to be added on. It looks all red and white. And there's Zambrotta making it 2-0 just before the break. They had the goal disallowed as well. And I feel like I'm just on repeat, just dominant.
Yeah, it's massive that from Boston. I genuinely think, like I said before, and I think there were just too many tweaks to what have been working for Burn massively, rather than just sitting somebody else in there. Like I said, I don't mean to be disrespectful Ian at all by that. I just think he's always been one for following the cause and following as he is. For Ian, that's too many tweaks, and it's not something we've seen before, and it's probably not something we're seeing again. But can't take away all from Bostock there. They've just been completely dominant.
And you look at the individual player ratings as well. I'm obviously the standout, but Zambrotta, Tomasi, big players do seem to be turning up on a regular basis, even in the early stages of the season for Bostock, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tomasi were massive for us for 3 seasons. He got assists for us, and it's probably carrying Van Bommel a little bit, even though Van Bommel's had a couple of real good games. And I think the problem is where Van Bommel's not really been really good over the course of the Super League being a thing is because people have tried getting attacking things out of him playing MC. Scott's gone in there, he's put him in DMC, and he's just going to let him run there, where I don't think anybody's given him a run at DMC just to be in that overpowered position, being the player he is. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bostock go on and score another 1 or 2 here.
So Scott, unsurprisingly, same role. Sigalko's getting not much to work off, and his rating's being affected by that. Inzaghi, you said you weren't impressed with him starting in AM. He's not really contributing too much. Fiore struggling in that centre midfield as well. It doesn't make good reading for Northern Burn, that does it?
No, I mean the big positive Scally back, and he's been more than an ample replacement for Jeremies. I think Fiore has been decent. He's scored goals, and he's somebody who should sit there. I think he has got a place in Super League, as much as it's all been a joke about him being offered about. You can't take Maxim off for a 5. He's always liable for a goal as well. I think the rest of them are okay, and I'm sure they might put a bit more of a fight up in the second half.
Scott pointing out in the chat, Scally being an absolute beast again. Look at that, 10 tackles, 9-1, 4 of them key. He's winning his headers as well. Another one of those aforementioned myths who continues to silence the critics. Let's carry on to the hour mark with the changes being made, see how they affect the game. 54 on the clock. Burn coming forward. Scally getting involved. Sigalko trying to force the issue. As we reach the hour, Del Piero with the attempt fails to convert. Burn offering a little bit there, it looked like.
It was very much more Burn colours than Bostock, in fairness. I mean, they've got a bit of a wall to get through, which is their only problem. But you've got Bo Morty on an 8 there, probably may have an assist in there. And to be at 60 minutes and still be 2-0 up, considering the amount of text that Burn had in that half, Scott will still be, I say, probably.
Scott's another one. You mentioned Hodgie earlier. Scott's another one who knows how to stay defensively solid, doesn't he?
Oh, Scott's very good. We saw that when he came in at Chudley, and he come in with a bit of a mixed squad, and then he ended up bringing in the likes of Carlos Jacques and others from outside league and sort of stamped a mark. And I think he just missed out on playoffs after bringing all them sort of players in. And now he's got these players in for Bostock last iteration, and now he's got a draft and a proper team again. And he's just showing his nous and how good he is. And again, same as everybody else, it's 100% at a minute. They're all just ploughing on, showing their worth. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Ian suggesting, this is 2i Ian, suggesting that 1i Ian's about to go free up top, potentially. Not much on the bench to really alter it, so it will be tactical as much as anything if he is to change things, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd probably be Cashman for Everton. I've just seen he's done that. Maybe put longer arrows on his DML, DMR, just to try and get a bit further up pitch. Try and feed Sigalko a bit more. I don't think there's too much you can do. I see Ian there saying put Keane and Chunsu up top. Not for me. Neither of them can play up top. I don't like Chunsu as a player on game. He's not somebody I can ever get bits out of.
It's not the 6th player tonight that you've said you don't like.
Yeah, well, I got slung out by rocks saying, no, this is Samoan DMC. Yeah, I like him. So, but no, I don't. I can't get all out of him. And again, that probably says more about me than the people that do like him. But without a shadow of a doubt, here, Scott's just dominated. But the little bit of a change, I'd be interested to see if they can get involved.
See if it has any effect whatsoever as we continue playing. And there is one, and it is Lee Chun-Soo who scores. Let's slow it down. Delpy over, fierce shot. Shiotis with a save. Corner kick. Imar swings it in, Boa Morte, but Kuehl in the way. We haven't had any late drama really yet tonight, Steve. Let's hope this is the one that gives us something to remember this episode by. Zambrotta coming forward. Boa Morte comes off Hippier, and then Shiotis picks up the rebound from Del Piero. Van Bommel now. Lasisi. Fiore picks it up. Now Sigalko driving into the area. Wins a corner. Steve Chun-Soo, says Dan. Here come Burn again. Scally looks for Kuehl. Spotted an earlier incident. There was an offside decision heading towards 3 minutes of injury time. Bostock just seeing it out. There's the full-time whistle. And Bostock win 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my prediction was one as well, as I sort of thought it was. Obviously, let's say, I said it early, talk about players and it happens in this game. They just seem to do something. I don't know what it is, why it happens, but fairly even game come end of it. And I don't think Ian's anything to be worried about. Obviously being 9 points from 12, but Bostock roll on with their solid start.
Let's have a look at the individual ratings then and see what happened. Imar picking up man of the match for his performance, and this is, I think, maybe the 4th time we've seen a team just solid team performance, all 7s and 8s, no star players, just a hard fought, hard working team effort to get the result.
Yeah, I mean, I think AMR were on a 9, either at 60 or at half time. Mazzantini getting an 8 there is something I'm all in for. But that team will just carry on putting performances in and getting results. Like I say, Scott's just stuck with his formation, this team, and it's showing well enough that it could go exceptionally far this season.
Absolutely. Shottis, look at that 9 rating, saving a number of good attempts from Stanley. Stanley, very good. Hard not to like them at Greedan. They look very efficient at what they do. They tried hard, didn't they, Burn? But they just didn't quite have enough tonight.
No, and that performance by Sammy Ipia is not something I've seen on the game or will probably ever see again. In fairness, I've never seen him with a 5, never seen him complete 2 out of 9 tackles. Martin Lawson's tried picking up pieces, and that's probably falling off as well. You know, he's trying to pick
both
up pieces.
Centre backs with poor tackle complete ratings.
And the 2 of the supposed better centre backs on game. But again, it's a one-off. Ian will just stick to his. I would rather be in Ian's position with 9 points from 12 than being 1 point from 9. So I'm sure he'll just carry on and just do well.
So that brings us then to the main event of the regular programming tonight. I say that because I hope that no one will disappear too early. At the conclusion of this game, I'm just going to advance the game a few days, and we have the debut of the Wizard of Aus as Mike will be taking charge of his Australia side for a very quick friendly against Fiji. So I hope you can all stick around, join the second link, and hopefully we'll have Mike on to talk through his team in just at the end of this one. Steve, talk us through your selection tonight.
Needs must. I mean,
a lot of absentees there.
Yeah, but when you're looking at them halfway down and everybody's an AM or something, I feel I've got I felt I had a decent draft. I did a couple of decent transfers, I felt. And it feels like I've ended up with an extremely unbalanced squad. So I don't know. It's but I feel like in terms of the players that got available, maybe Dennis Bergkamp maybe needed a go. I think McKinney needs to play to try and develop his ratings. Obviously, we saw in the last save that he developed extremely well, which everybody will do when it's all everybody else is downgraded. But Dario Sain's got 3 goal contributions in 3 games, done really well. Devecchio making his debut, which as a second big man up top should do all right. Nikiforenko started well. Nice to see that Legwinski in the league. I can't remember seeing him in there before.
Nope.
And he's done okay in his first game. Probably as a lone DMC, I won't be surprised to see him get an 8 if we do okay tonight. So yeah, it's a bit of a just roll with it and see how we go. We've got a certain tactic that we want to play. It's just about having the players available. It's about having the players available that are our better players to fit into that formation. So.
Okay, let's have a look at Badgers, who were the very first team to submit. Some may recall we did the because it was bank holiday for the last episode. We had a few managers on for the chat. I think me, you, and Ian of Burn were the last ones standing till just about 12:30, 1 a.m. But Tato was actually sending his team in while I was doing the pack. He has ditched the conventional and gone back to the asymmetric.
Yeah, I'd have still probably kept an A at DMR. In fairness, I tried him once or twice last season when I tried playing wingers at MR, and he only got a 7. For mine, it has been brilliant. For a start, he's been very, very good. I know he's been not too enamoured with Kaladza. I'm still sort of worried by this. I think the only thing I'm going to start closer is probably due a goal here from it. But it's either one of them. I'll either win 1-0 or lose 3-1. So,
how do you feel about coming up against a less conventional formation?
I've never, it sort of gives you a little bit of confidence that you should be doing okay. But then on the other side, we all know this game's a bit bonkers, and it likes the little quirky bits. I'm looking at the players on the pitch, and the players that I've got on the pitch are better than these players on the pitch, in fairness, in the main. But that doesn't always equate to a result. And I know Tato's, I spoke to him loads, I speak to him loads anyway. He's been a little bit dismayed by his start and what have you. And I certainly won't put it past him getting his 3 points on board tonight. So,
before we go to kick off, then there was a lot of talk at the end of the last game week about the choice to continue with this particular centre half in the Badgers team. What's your take on it? Does Tato have better availables? Does he warrant a place in the starting team?
It'd warrant a place if his stats weren't the worst I have ever seen a Kamuna stats. He's a very, very good centre half. He's sort of every inside levels of a centre half as he is at the MC. And I've never seen him start so low. So I'm sort of hoping there that my 2 strikers, especially Del Vecchio with his size, and he'll probably win. If you look at the stats after, he'll probably win a couple of headers, might get above him, and might sneak us a little bit of a result.
Okay, well, as is customary, I won't ask you to predict. I will just say good luck. I will wish Tato good luck as well as we kick off the final game of the regular show for this evening. Early yellow card for Perry of White Rose. Badgers coming forward, looking to score relatively early. Failed to convert with an opportunity or two there. Samuel goes in the book. Closer goes close. Fails to convert. Nicky Ferenko getting involved. There's Closer again. 4 minutes to be added on. This first half has flown by. Kimona goes in the book. It's half-time already, Steve. Flew by.
Yeah. I felt like we got battered a bit like as well.
Yeah, Badgers did look the more dominant of the two teams from the text, but clearly not managing to create very much.
No, but that can come, can't it?
Let's have a look at the home side first, then, to give Tate a chance to react. As we said, decent performance, but lacking that creative spark. Look at that. Closer and Roberts both on 6s, and they need more support. They both had a shot each, though. Perry lucky to stay on, suggests Ian, and worse than the PPP game this, Steve, says Jens. So interesting to see what Tato will do here. No obvious fitness concerns. 2 managers who love a change. Carnage swaps, I reckon, says Dimble. And Tato reacting very quickly. He wanted Closer in. He was adamant Closer was playing, and he is taking him off at half time, with Ficini coming back into the fray. As for yourself, Steve, let's have a look. And Poirier, I believe, is that Poirier? No, sorry, I've got one too high. Legvinsky, the man you pointed out in the intro, he is the man who is working incredibly hard for you at the moment.
Yeah, can I just bring Bermudas on for Perry, please, mate?
Do what, sorry?
Bring Bermudas on for Perry, please.
No problem at all. Is that the only change?
Yeah, at this present moment in time, please.
Okay, well, let's roll till 60 then and see if the second half offers us a bit more in the way of entertainment. There's a low drive corner kick to Badgers, failed to convert from that as well. Hussein now getting involved. There's Ficini and Roberts. Bermudez goes in the book, the substitute. Zanetti looking to deliver, working very hard on that wing. And we pause the game on 62 minutes, still at 0-0. And well, I've been waiting all night for a game with late drama. Are we going to see it here? Shane Davidov has been drafted to Ukraine, says Jens. Still yellow cards on both starting centre-backs, maybe an area of concern. But this certainly seems to suit Badgers better. They're playing quite well, Steve.
Yep. Barely any getting up. I mean, I was messaging him. I played it through a load of times, and Arman Fusini, like, yeah, he absolutely terrorised me. As did Vicente, who was obviously in his reserves. When you're ordering people, yeah, I don't know. I certainly can't see a goal coming for us. I think it's definitely going to be a Badgers nicker, and I reckon if we look at match stats, by the time we're both done, I reckon they're battering us. In fairness.
Well, Badgers have reacted to what has happened. Let's see what you're going to do. Marquinhos there on the bench as the last remaining attacking option. Might we see him come on?
Yeah. So Marquinhos for Del Vecchio, please, mate.
For Del Vecchio, yeah?
Please.
Okay.
And Marquinhos down to left AMC.
Mm-hmm.
Saying central.
Mm-hmm.
Move Nicky Franco to right, please.
Mm-hmm.
We're on central of them.
Yep.
Poye central.
Yep.
And arrows on Marquinhos and Nicky Franco, please, mate.
No problem at all. Is that everything?
Yep, that's the one.
Let's it is the final game of the night, so we'll slow it down at this point, see if we can get some goals. Substitutions and tactical changes made. This is where the managers earn their money. And there is the goal, and Badgers score. It's Virginia on 64, gives the home side the lead. Steve going for it, love it, says Jens. Going for it is not a help, though. As Badgers have... And then you must be... Oh, look at all this time flying by with nothing happening at all. That's one of the things that frustrates me when you're losing and nothing is happening. 2 minutes only being added on. Van der Vaart picks up, but Dyer then picks up the loose ball himself. Glatzy in the way. And Puccini, and on the counter-attack, maybe Agahauer. White Rose retain possession. Into injury time. Lizarazu gets the byline. Davidov, fine save. Puccini, he won the header from the corner. And is there going to be one last chance? It's going to fall to the home side. Davidov, and it's 2-0. Badgers win 2-0. And it's both the substitute strikers who score. And there will be parties at the set tonight. Commiseration, Steve. But you have been on the end of a 2-0 defeat to the lowly Badgers.
I agree through fairness and Swan's predictions. It's dominant. We've created nothing. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. To be fair, I can't do no, but take me out to say, yeah, because it's been class. And I nearly went with the same formation, bar the midfielder, right? A bit of an asymmetric one. I said that to him just because I was expecting it from him. But we've got issues to be trying to give over Van der Vaart man at match. I'm not to rub salt in wound even more.
And your former man Kaladze as well, putting in an excellent performance.
Yeah, of course he will. He's brilliant. It's Kaladze. I love him. I love him a bit. But to get a 9 rating out of Van der Vaart, Samuel, I don't think he deserved his 7 at half time as well. He completed all his passes and all his tackles, so you're obviously going to come up. Kimona's done all right as well, and as is Lizarazu and Zanetti. And let's be honest, Scott just said it. He said it don't work in Super League ever. Yeah, he done, but I'm limited with what I've got available. So there might be changes coming up and try and change it up a little bit. But I've got a load of DMs, I've got a load of AMs, I've got no in the middle, and back to drawing board. It took me 3 seasons to get to grip with it last time out, so we'll see what happens this time.
It wasn't a shockingly bad performance. You just needed a bit more, maybe from I'm looking at your big name players there: Dyer, Lucio, Veron. Just needed a bit more from them. Hussein as well.
Yeah, I mean, Dyer were 868 before tonight. I mean, Legwinski's them tackling numbers for Legwinski are superb. I'm really happy that he's done that. But yeah, we need to find a way of getting. Veron has been very good before tonight. I still think he's putting tackles in. Who cares? None of them were key, but yeah, it's back to drawing board. We've got one more game before reserve swaps. I had an oversight with one of my DMCs, and we'll see what's what. But then again, my oversight from my DMC with Legwinski, and he's done class tonight. So yeah, but we've got things to work on. I feel, let's say I had a good draft, but I feel I've got a very, very unbalanced squad. Due to probably my own thing. Dede doesn't help being out, so it sort of limits my operations. But we go again, and what will be.
Indeed. So let's go through the classified results then. So we had Astor Athletic 0, East Coast 3, Boostown Badgers 2, White Rose 0, Bostock Stanley 2, Northern Burn 1, Fulchester United 1, Vikings 3, Haggis 3, Dragons 2, Triple P 0, Walton Casuals 0, and Tortuga Celtics 0, Gazelles 2. That leaves the league after just 4 league games looking like this. East Coast and Gazelles both on 12 points. Vikings and Bostock also remain unbeaten, 3rd and 4th on 10 points. Then we've got Northern Burn on 9, Walton Casual 7. Astor then below the dotted line on 5. We've got Haggis on 4, Fulchester and Badgers on 3, Triple P on 2, Dragons and White Rose on 1, and Celtics at the very bottom, still pointless, never mind winless, conceding 10. Steve just shook his head in that picture behind him in disgust. Shortest amount of time for pull-away leaders in the Super League history. Let's have a quick look first at the fixtures for Sunday. So we've got Badgers against Haggis, Stanley against Gazelles. What a game that could be. Northern Burn against Dragons, Triple P against Astor, Celtics Fulchester, Casuals against Vikings, another potentially very good game that. And then we've got White Rose against East Coast. 2 very good friends having 2 very contrasting starts to the season. Guarantee Greavesy gets off the mark, says Macca. As it stands, comms is available. So if you are interested in comms on Sunday, then please. Oh, hang on. I'll need to double check. There may not be an episode on Sunday because it's my brother's 30th and I'll be down in Swindon and traveling home. I will need to see what time the table's booked for, depending on what time I get back. Leave that with me, whether or not there is an episode on Sunday. Player stats. People want to see this. Dede's still top of the average ratings. He's not changing that anytime soon because he's not playing. Didier Gattin second. Alan Shearer of Haggis, and then Anelka up there as well. We go Saturday. Jens can do comms Sunday if needed. Very kind, sir. Like I say, let me just, we go Saturday, we go tomorrow. Can't go tomorrow, Tato, because it's Fool's Rush In Day on a Friday night. Goals, Anelka, 6 already after just 4 games. Sigalko, Shearer, Crespo, Robin, and Adilson all on 3. Possibly Saturday, Tato, possibly. Let me work out what my social calendar looks like first. Assists-wise, Didier Gat at the top on 3. We've got Owen Van Nistelrooy among a number of players on. Sorry, Gat's on 4, and we've got Owen Van Nistelrooy, Figo, among a load of other players on 3. Where should we go next? Yellow cards. Look at that. Roy Keane already closing in on a suspension for yellows. A couple of players also on 3. Red cards. 14 players have had red cards in the opening 4 game rounds. Very, very interesting. So Moise Ficini's on that page. Man of the matches, Cannavaro, the only one with more than one. Pass completion, as expected, lots of defensive-minded players. Ronnie Johnson, obviously absent tonight, Steve. He's top of that on 94%. Oxford podcast, behave. Fools Rush In is the podcast that I host for Swindon Town. We do it on a Monday and a Friday generally, pre-game and post-game. Tackles percentage, Neil Scally, look at that, right up the top there. And Legwinski, you pointed him out tonight, Steve. He is doing well as well early doors. Dribbles per game, we've got Ryan Giggs, we've got Nettie, Adilson as well. At the top of that particular list, and the all-important shots on target, Ian Robin currently top of that on 87%. Steve, thank you very, very much for your time tonight. Remember, everyone, I'm hoping to be back on in about 15 minutes, just with a quick fly through of the Australia game. Hopefully, Mike will be available to join me as well. But any final comments from yourself, Steve, before we close this particular stream?
I think the teams at the top doing what their bits are. I'm really, really worried about playing Dimble on Sunday night, but we'll see what's available. We'll have his players back, and again, it's been regardless of what anybody's results are, we've seen some pretty dramatic games, some really good performances, and Viva la Super League.
Viva Super League, indeed. I'll be back in about 15 minutes or so once I've forwarded the game. I think it's 5 days. But until then, if you're not able to join us, then we will see you next time. Fixture date to be confirmed. But from me and from Steve at Super League HQ, wishing you a very good night.
That was.